right, let's talk about some new polling that we're just getting in about President Biden, showing his age is a significant concern for voters ahead of the 2024 election, including among Democrats, by the way. A new AP NORC poll finds more than three quarters of Americans think Biden, who is 80, is too old to serve another term, 77% of them. Donald Trump is just 3 years younger than Biden, but only 51% of Americans say he is too old to be effective in a second term. Broken down by party, 89% of Republicans say Biden is too old, 69% of Democrats say he's too old, and 74% of independents say the same. In contrast, only 28% of Republicans say Trump is too old versus 71% of Democrats and about half of all independents. So, Eugene Robinson, this is something that the White House, the Biden campaign cannot avoid. It is a reality. It might be uncomfortable for some people to talk about, but when you have private dinner parties, when you go out at the ice cream place in the summer, people do, even Democrats who like Joe Biden and plan to support him, they do have concerns about his age.
Yes, they do. And it's just a fact that they have to deal with. I mean, the fact also is that those Democrats, I think, are highly unlikely to say, okay, he's too old, I'll vote for Donald Trump. They're not going to do that. And indeed, if it is a Trump-Biden rematch, I think it's very likely that the main question will be Donald Trump. It's a stark binary choice. You want 4 more years of Biden, or you want 4 more years of Trump? And so I think the Biden camp is fairly confident on that score that's how it's going to come down. But it is a problem, and it is ironic. He's only 3 years older than Donald Trump. He is visibly in better physical shape than Donald Trump. Despite that, those figures from the Georgia booking that have Trump at 6'3", 215. I'm sorry, that is a and you see Biden riding on his bicycle and doing all this stuff and
riding a bicycle,
but none of that seems to stick, and so this is just something that Biden has to deal with.
John.
MSNBC, especially Morning Joe, and you see in that clip, they have been in shambles recently. Because we explained many times before how polls is a reflection. It's the report card, right?
Yes.
And after hyping the Trump prosecutions and after spreading propaganda for Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, you have new polls that show Trump is winning right now. If I was a member of either the red or blue team, I'll be sweating bullets right now. I'll be terrified. So doesn't it feel great not to be invested in the absolute nonsense of the two-party duopoly?
It feels awesome, Nick, and we talk about this all the time, but to the point of the clip, before we bring on Dr. West, maybe we'll talk to him a little bit about it, is that like you said, it's a report card, but not only is there propaganda sort of not sticking, this is a terrible candidate. Joe Biden is a terrible candidate, but they have to pretend like, this is Weekend at Bernie's, and everybody's pretending like Bernie is alive in the movie. I don't mean Bernie Sanders, but in the movie Weekend at Bernie's, the character Bernie is dead, and people are walking him around, and that's clearly what's happening here with Joe Biden. That's why when you look at that poll and it says independents, 74% view Joe Biden as too old, and then it goes to Donald Trump and it says 24%. Why is that? Because it's not about the number. People can clearly physically see something is wrong with Joe Biden. That's why the number are so vastly different, even though their ages are like 3 years apart, like they said, and they trying to pretend, Nick, this is their way of talking about Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline. Instead of saying his cognitive decline or dementia or some form of it, they go his age. That's kind of like a catch-all to collect anything. And the thing is, they try to act like this is the main reason. People don't like they want to piggyback on anything other than what actually is. This is what makes a Cornel West campaign so refreshing. And we played a bunch of clips before we started while we were waiting, and you saw like just it's worlds apart. You listen to what he's saying, and then you listen to almost everybody else, including RFK and Marianne Williamson, and it's like this is not the same race here. This is not the same race.